La mentira envenenada que predica el fanatismo. No se puede, habla bajito que me mete en un lío. Well, my name is Pablo Menéndez in Cuba. I was originally born Paul Menéndez in Oakland, California. And when I got to Cuba, people can't pronounce Paul right. They say Paul. So right. I say, well, Pablo goes better because my grandfather was from Spain, but my mother was the first person from the United States to defy the State Department ban on travel to Cuba, which, of course, is still in effect.
Right.
And but she was kind of like the Rosa Parks of the freedom to travel to Cuba movement because she was the first one to come risking being thrown in jail. The thing is, back then, the United States government had its hands full with all of the protests against the Vietnam War and against racism.
Right.
So, yeah, my mother then turned around and she fixed it up for me to study music in Cuba with the idea that I would be here for a year in 1966. So this year, amazingly enough, I look up and it's been 50 years that I've been living here in Cuba. And I've been working all my life as a Cuban musician and travel around the world. Sometimes I work with her because she's still active. Next year she's going to be 90 years old. And in fact, there's going to be a Barbara Dane legacy. Her name is Barbara Dane. And if you don't know about her, then Google her because she's one of the important artists of the United States, not only coming to Cuba, but a lot of things that she was the first one to do.
The most exciting blues style singer to come along in years. This is Barbara Dane and Old Fashioned Love.
That old-fashioned love in my heart.
Because of her political activism is not as well known as she should be in the United States. But anyway, here in Cuba, she became a symbol of the possibility of friendship between the people of Cuba and the people of the United States. And basically, also, that's what I've been doing as a musician all my life is being kind of a bridge, go-between. Sometimes the band can get a visa to get into the United States, but when we can't, then we travel around to Europe or Latin America or Canada or around the world, and you know, and so I'm very proud to be, have been part of the soundtrack of Cuba for the last 50 years now.
So what have you seen change over the last 50 years?
You know, if I think about things, in fact, a lot of our music is talking about that because our band is characterized not only by mixing different styles and mixing, different genres of music, but also it mixing also ages and races and sexes in the band itself. But we also have been known for having a lot of social commentary and writing songs about the things that are changing in Cuba all the time. What people want to know here, the question is, when is the United States policy about Cuba going to change? Because if you think about it, a country that close to Cuba, to the United States with so many cultural and historic ties, you guys may not remember there used to be a primetime TV show in the United States called I Love Lucy, where the Cuban band leader, her husband, Ricky Ricardo. So, and then for 50-something years, the United States has been denying people in the United States the right to travel to Cuba. And the arts have been one of the main areas of breaking that down. And in fact, both music and then dance and ballet has been one of the things where there's been collaboration and people traveling back and forth and performing. Like I say, we hope that the things that are good, the support for the arts, and the fact that you don't find homeless people or people starving here in Cuba. I think Cuba's doing pretty good.
So what we've seen a lot of art in Cuba. What do you think arts, and maybe you can speak more specifically to music. What does music mean to the Cuban people, and what's its role in the culture here?
Music and arts have always been very important. And traditionally, it's one of the things, I think that when we talk about our band being called Mezcla, we're talking about on a deeper level, on a philosophical level, one of the biggest mixtures of all times, and the United States and Cuba are the same on that sense, because it's a mixture of different nationalities of Africans coming together with different nationalities of Europeans in the Americas. The African element didn't get here voluntarily, and so like the music and the culture are all part of the resistance culture, survival culture that has kept the African diaspora alive for 500 years of slavery, racism, cultural genocide. And the thing is that, like I say, in the last since the Cuban Revolution, the thing is that there's been support and subsidies for the arts, and make it possible to actually make a living and be able to play for a low price ticket, or in the theaters and things like that. They actually belong to the people, and people can go to it. I'm afraid to even ask you what it costs to go see dance or ballet in New York City or in Rochester, right? And here, like a ticket might cost you 50 cents or something, maybe $1. and that's important, right? So I mean, I think that we people here are very conscious about the fact that you know, you can't change the world or make it better just with music like we used to think back in the '60s, but world and life sure is better with music and dance and arts and everything, you know. So that's what we're all about.
Todo cambiará. Todo cambiará. Todo cambiará. Todo cambiará. Todo cambiará.